You know, I do my best to be like a good house guest, you know, and especially when I travel, because when I travel, I have to do it as an American. I have to travel as an American now. You know? And it's like, I'm traveling more than I ever have in my life, experiencing new places for the first time, but one thing that I will say is, okay, there used to be a time where you would travel when you were from the U.S. You would go to other places, and you would say that you were from the U.S., and people, there was a shine to it. There genuinely was like this like magnificent shine around you and your passport. People had questions for you. You know, you would say you were from the U.S., and they'd be like, oh, blue jeans. Wow. And then over time, the shine started to wear off a little bit, you know, like the way that we were perceived on the world stage started to change, and you would tell people that you were from the U.S., and they'd be like, oh yes, yeah, Beyonce. And now, you travel the world, and look, people ask me. I don't go around telling everyone my business all the time. People ask me, "Hell, where are you from?" And I go, "Oh, it's..." You know, it's American. And they're like, "What? What? I didn't hear..." Oh, you know, it's United States. What? I'm American. I'm from the U.S. From America. And I've traveled these past 2 weeks to Paris, Dublin, Brussels, Antwerp, now here, and there is a similarity. This happened more in Brussels and Antwerp than anywhere else, but it has also happened here, where people will ask me where I'm visiting from, and then I will tell them. And there's a look and a noise you make that's genuinely offensive. Like, it is. Once again, you asked me. I didn't say anything. I walk into the shop. Y'all are the ones, you know, asking questions and stuff. And then I say that I'm from the U.S. I'm visiting from America. And then you go, oh. You get the face or you get the noise. You don't get both. Oh. I grew up in Louisiana, all right? And when I was, sure. And when I was in Louisiana, you know, I have friends who live in all different parts of the state, and one of my friends, he actually lives he's in like a rural area. He's in like, you know, some swamp area near the bayou and everything. There's a bunch of things floating in the water, a bunch of predators out there. You know, he does his hunting. He comes back home. That's mainly how he sustains himself and everything. And there was one time he was having a barbecue. A bunch of friends came over, and one of his buddies, his buddy Spence, came over and was having a cigarette off by himself. He walked off away from the barbecue to have his cigarette, and then sometime later, he comes back over, and in the back door, the way that a lot of the houses are built in Louisiana is you have your door and you have your screen door, and the screen door can keep out the bugs while also letting air flow into the home and everything. And so he pops his head near the screen door, and his head only, and Spence leans in and he says, "Hey, can you call an ambulance?" And our friend is like, "What? Why?" If anyone ever asks you to call an ambulance, just do it right away. Like, I'm sure that they have a good reason. I'm sure they're not just getting you to do it for fun because they want to hear the siren. I think that they probably need some help. And so he's like, if you could just call him, that'd be great. Can you please just call him? And he's being very calm. And so our friend walks up and pokes his head out of the screen door, and he sees that Spence, though calm, is standing there, and there is a baby alligator around his foot. And that's the way you look at me when I tell you that I'm from the U.S. Now, coming here at a time where tourism in the U.S. is way down, people aren't coming to visit as often. It's like if people used to love to come visit all the time, and then something happened. It'd be like if you went over to your friend's house all the time growing up, and then one day you stopped going, and your friend was like, "Why? Why wouldn't you just come over like you used to? Come hang out." And you're like, "Oh, well, last time I was there, your dad threw a plate at my head, so I think I'm good coming over for a while." And so tourism is down in the U.S. People are choosing other places to go, and one of the main places that they're choosing to come is to Europe. It's all these places, like, some people will come to Berlin. A lot of it is happening in Spain with Barcelona and Madrid, in Italy, in Paris as well. And it's getting to the point where there's so much tourism, people are actually calling it like over-tourism. And this is happening at the same time as like massive heat waves. Like wild heat waves, some of which we've never seen before. It's never been as hot as it is now. It's very hot. Luckily, not here today. But this week you had, one of your hottest days on record. I can't even imagine what that must have been like, because you all are like fit people. Like, you get on bikes to go you have to understand, my frame of reference is the U.S. So the fact that you're even walking next to a bike is leaps and bounds. I can't imagine trying to ride a bike in that heat, or running. Some of you run. And so that's wild that this level of like over tourism is happening at the same time as this heat wave. And there are people in Paris, there are people in Spain and Italy that have had enough. They're losing it over this. They're protesting the tourists. They're over here being like, "Stop it. Stop coming here right now. Talk amongst yourselves and spread it out throughout the year or something." but this is too much. You have places like, I could be wrong about these numbers, but I think in Barcelona you have like 1.6 million people living there, but like 26 million people visit throughout the year. That's wild. I understand that if you live in Barcelona and you're trying to ride your bike, eventually you're like, get out of the way! And then if you live in Barcelona, you're tired of all these tours everywhere all the time, and you start freaking out. You might get a reputation for being a little bit rude to tourists, and then you'll be New York. But people are doing the best they can to protest. There's been all these different types. People get creative and stuff. There's one where they were shooting tourists with water guns throughout the day. Get out of here! Ah! Like when a dog tries to pee on the carpet. You know what I mean? Although as far as protests go, you can tell that these are like good people doing the protesting, because that's what you came with, water guns. Water gun. I don't know, I'm coming from the U.S. where it would have just been guns. Like that's, you can tell these are people who have a deep moral core, because you used water guns to protest tourists during a heat wave. They probably didn't even understand what was happening. You know what I mean? They were probably over here like, oh, the Spanish are so hospitable. They saw how hot we were. Then some strangers we didn't even know were like, cooling us off. And I get the genuine frustration though, but this is the main problem, is that whether it's business or whether it's government, systems have a magnificent way of pitting us against each other. Like there are people that are local that are upset because obviously with all this tourism, Airbnbs are shooting up. Airbnbs raise the price of living in the area, so then people are getting priced out of their homes. They're getting priced out of the areas that they grew up in. They have to find somewhere else to live, all for people who don't live here, who are just coming to peak and then they head home. And that can be incredibly frustrating, but that's the people who are coming to visit didn't come up with a master plan. Airbnb and the government that allows Airbnb to run rampant are the people to blame. You should be taking, like, if you're gonna take anger out on anybody, it should be the local government and the Airbnb that allows it to run rampant. You should be using the water guns on the computers at this. Because I think that's the main way that systems get to stay intact. They see this, Airbnb sees it, and local government sees it, and they're like, well, we get to rake in money while the people that live here blame somebody else. Why would we ever change our practices? And I don't really know what the exact fix is. I remember when Airbnb was like at your house. There was a time early in Airbnb's history where you were just renting a room in someone's house, and so they lived there, and then they collected the money from you staying with them, like a little mini hotel. But that was like easier because then they lived here, so they cared about the home, they cared about the community, and you got to get a taste of like local life. And you could even ask them, hey, is there anywhere I should go to eat? And they would tell you, this is where we're going to eat tonight. And sometimes you would actually have a meal with your host. And I thought that was a really beautiful thing. And then like private equity and more money got involved, and so it ruined it. Because now an Airbnb is also like sometimes worse than a hotel, because they'll let the person who owns the Airbnb set the rules. So now you have someone setting these insane rules for the Airbnb. Like, you can't just check out. You can't just take your trash, put it outside, and leave. There are all these rules. Like, you have to make sure to wash the cabinets, wash all the dishes and everything, wipe everything down, give our dog a bath. Also, you don't get charged a cleaning fee that you end up getting charged anyway, because in the small print, it was like pick up our kid from school. And you didn't see that part. So now you're spending all this money on Airbnb to just go somewhere nice like Italy. And then you get to Italy and everyone's mad at you for visiting Italy, but you're also mad because you're like, the rules in this Airbnb say I have to buy this house before I leave.